Story 1. Hi, I'm in the Army. Recently in the beautiful swamps of Louisiana, we were exercising. Fun times were had by all, except for Karen. You see, Karen lived on base, presumably, and like many parents, uses a baby monitor that has two-way talk, essentially an overpriced walkie-talkie for babies with speech detection. When we do small routine training exercises, we don't bother to encrypt radio traffic. Finicky, temperamental, 1892 edition hand-me-down radios are a pain. Also, hypothetically, anybody with a radio that can tune to those frequencies can listen in. Not sure why you'd waste your time like that, but do you? On the first day of the exercise, at about 2 am, I'm sitting in the command tent, listening for anyone who needs anything via radio. Aside from hourly checks that the radios are actually working, we don't have any night missions, so all quiet. Until at 2 sharp. X, this is Y, radio check, over, followed by a child's voice going, hello? The frequencies we use are supposedly closed by someone who gets paid more than me, who ensures they aren't being used by local radio or anything similar. In years of doing this job, I've never had an eavesdropper chime in. So as any rational adult would in the dark of a swampy night in the romantically haunted swamps of the South, I was as calm as was reasonable to be. Holy cow, it's haunted. I kid you not, my heart skipped several beats. My equipment is poltergeist. I'm across the tent. The captain in there with me also heard it, so I'm not going crazy. We're looking at this thing like it just dropped a mess on the dining table until someone else breaks the silence. X, this is why, say again last over. And the child's voice again, but scared. Mommy. So, after the initial spookies wear off, it kinda clicks for us. Unencrypted traffic, probably some interference, not a big deal. Log it in the book and move on. I made the rookie mistake of ignoring it. As if by prophecy, spectral Karen has now awakened from her slumber and screeches into her baby's monitor. Who is this? Who hacked my baby monitor? My baby can't sleep with you soldiers doing this at all hours of the night. I have to get up early tomorrow and my baby is going to be cranky. Now introducing my captain, passed up for promotion, exiled to night shift, and fresh out of cares to give. Ma'am, assuming you can hear us, this is an exercise on base. Please either change your channel or turn off your monitor. Who are you? Where are you? I'm going to report this to the military police. My husband is a junior officer, blah, blah, blah. Roger, ma'am, we'll get right on that. In the meantime, all the commotion and radio screeching has awoken the true Kraken, the sergeant major. One rule universally known by all soldiers of all ranks, private to captain alike: don't mess with a sergeant major. Don't mess with a sergeant major's 2 hours of sleep unless someone is dying. If the sergeant major is awoken and there isn't fresh coffee on, expect to be in trouble. Taking a second to assess the situation, and probably to be petty, he wakes everyone up. 3 am is a perfectly reasonable time to start live fire ranges. High explosives, loud noises, and they carry for miles and miles, rattling windows and occasionally waking up precious babies. As any of you who've ever lived close to a base can attest, those be loud. We spent until well after sunrise sending as much ordnance as we could at imaginary targets in some swamp field in southern Louisiana, because Karen thought she had power here when she really didn't. Story 2. My husband Bill and I had been doing pretty well. I am just nearing the 8th month mark of my pregnancy, and I am excited to report that I am having another boy. Bill is overjoyed. My son is happy to be getting a brother, and my in-laws are over the moon. We got a dog and a bird, and I love them as much as I love my son and future son. As much as I would love to report that all lived happily ever after, I wouldn't be here posting if that were the case. I have posted before that my best friend Barbara has been an angel from heaven. But during the last 2 months, things have begun to change. Barbara and Dave were constantly fighting, and I was always being pulled into the middle of it. I asked my husband to replace me in the middle of these arguments because I physically and emotionally couldn't deal. My hormones just wouldn't allow it. When Bill would come home after dealing with the fallout of whatever fight they were having that day, it always ended with Barbara being the one in the wrong. Barbara quit her job that I helped her to get and decided she didn't want to work anymore. She had been speaking with Karen again, and Karen told her that women shouldn't be working. I glossed over Karen's views in the past, but this crazy woman is living in the year 1950, where a woman's place is in the home, taking care of the kids, cleaning, and cooking. She is highly religious, using God as her justification to be a bad human being, And she is super conservative and deep in the fog on conspiracy theories. She believes in some strange theories, watches the news every single day, and is the living embodiment of the Karen stereotype. One evening, while Bill was mediating between Barbara and Dave, I got a phone call from him. He said he didn't think he could do this anymore because Barbara tried to throw herself at him when Dave walked out on her. Barbara was screaming in the background, and having remembered my husband's transgressions before, I told him to come home immediately. When he got home, he told me as he was walking out, Barbara was promising him the world if he would leave me and be with her. She said her mother told them they would be perfect together and that Dave and I were leeches. She could give him the children he deserves and not some rat in the gutter that I was giving him. Yes, she said this about an unborn child. Needless to say, I was upset. I called Barbara and asked her what the heck. She hung up on me without even answering. Minutes later, I get a call from Karen. She tells me that under no uncertain terms am I to get in between her and her daughter's happiness, that I should throw myself down a flight of stairs, take both my kids with me, and do my husband a favor by letting him be with a real woman. Unable to cope with hearing her tell me to kill both of my kids and myself, I threw the phone at the wall and shattered it. After the ordeal with my mother and all of the therapy I had been going to, also considering I am super hormonal, my spine is stronger than ever, and I told my husband that if he speaks to that home-wrecking witch or her mother again, then it was over for good. I also sprinkled in a threat to tear off his private parts and feed them to the dog. Of course, I do not advocate for violence, but I was that mad, and hormones are a real pain. I went to our bedroom and let all of the hormonal rage into my pillow. I cried for hours, in disbelief that my best friend would prove to be just as manipulative as her mother. When Dave discovered what had occurred because Karen bragged to him that Bill and Barbara were getting together, he came to my house straight away to fight my husband. Bill set him straight, and we decided then and there that Barbara was now out of our lives. Dave is finished with Barbara's entitled nonsense, her behavior mirroring that of her mother, and all of the lies and the attempt to seduce his best friend, her best friend's husband. He filed for divorce a few days later. He moved some things into our guest room and has been living with us for the last month. She has tried coming here to my house to beg Dave to take her back, but he is done with her. When she saw she wasn't getting anywhere with Dave, she tried getting my husband to talk to her, pounding on the door and shouting for him to come outside. He went outside, leaving the door open, and tried telling her to leave. Right there in front of me, she turned on the waterworks. She was telling him everything she thought he wanted to hear. That she could be good for him, that she could give him healthy children, that I was worthless as a mother and wife, etc. It was the most pathetic thing I had ever seen. She tried hugging him, and he put out his arms to stop her. She began shrieking that he was assaulting her and threatened to call the police. I decided that was a fantastic idea and called them myself. I told the police my crazy ex-friend was harassing me and my husband and needed them to come take her away. Barbara was shouting at me that I was trash and other choice words, repeating Karen's words for me and my kids to die. I texted Karen and told her that she could have her trashy daughter back, but she is to leave me, my husband, Dave, and my children alone. She texted back that she will ruin my life for ruining her daughter's life. I told her that Barbara ruined her own life by listening to her and trying to get intimate with my husband. I also mentioned that text messages cannot be deleted once they are sent, so I will be forwarding this to my attorney. She never responded. Gotcha, which? The police arrived, and Barbara was escorted off the property. Bill didn't want to press charges, telling Barbara to never come back and to go home back to our old state. She made her bed, and it was now time to lie in it. Because she and Dave didn't have a prenuptial agreement, she wants to take everything from him. She now lives in the house, not paying any of her share of the utilities or mortgage. She is holding their pets hostage and even had the locks changed so Dave couldn't even get in if he wanted to. Karen is now down here, living in the house as well. I know because I kept getting sent pictures of her and Barbara together by Barbara as a means of throwing it in my face. I ended up blocking her after telling her to go shove her gross relationship down someone else's throat. I kinda regret that one, but it felt good to say it at the time. Dave has contacted his family and an attorney. His grandparents offered $300,000 to Barbara and Karen, so they will leave and sign over Barbara's share of the house. She can keep her car and the pets and all of her personal belongings, but the house and his car are all he wants. The attorney has yet to hear back from them, but I suspect they are dragging this out just to punish Dave. He is now living with us and has been deeply depressed to the point he has suggested harming himself just to escape the pain. He and Barbara were together for many years before they got married, and he feels betrayed and taken advantage of. He knows he has us to lean on for support, and we will always be there for him. But I know he needs more than that. I suggested therapy, because he knows therapy has done me wonders. He's considering it. I'm truly heartbroken that the one friend I had trusted did this to appease the mother that abandoned her for so many years. I know my pain is nowhere near Dave's pain, but I still feel betrayed and used. I stopped giving people second chances, and Barbara will never get another chance. I'm happy to say that I am doing okay emotionally despite everything that's happened. No thanks to these crazy hormones. Update. We are in the process of getting a no-contact order against her and her mother Karen so they leave us alone. So far, Karen's harassment has been minor and nothing worth noting. Karen drives by my house several times a day to spy on us and has shown up at restaurants we are eating at and will sit near us and glare at us. We just ignore her and go about our business like she's not even there, even though I do sneakily record her on my phone and she's on the Ring camera. I am crazy about keeping a record of everything. So far, Barbara has been radio silent since the last time she showed up at my house. Dave has been working a lot to try keeping his mind off of the current situation. Bill and I have begun talking about moving, but we can't really bring ourselves to move again. We put so much money into this house, and it is becoming our sanctuary, and we don't want to be chased out of here. My son loves his room, and our nursery is finished in preparation for when I have my second child. We are currently remodeling 2 bathrooms and the kitchen. I love my house, so moving is not an option right now. In the last 24 hours, we began getting some strange calls from people asking to set up appointments to come look at the house as they were interested in possibly purchasing it. We told them we aren't selling the house and to not call back. They were even calling last night while we were sleeping. The last person to call here, we asked them where they heard our house was up for sale. They directed us to Craigslist, where there was an ad for my house. The ad was almost too good to be fake, with pictures of the front of my house, my backyard, and interior pictures from some other house. The ad was listing the house for $1. Insulting, as we put nearly $200,000 into the house when buying it and another $45,000 just in remodeling that is still ongoing. My husband's business number was posted in the ad. We were able to get the post taken down, but the damage was done, so now we are having to tell everyone calling that the ad was fake, and we are not selling the house. Most have been understanding, but a few were angry. It's obvious to me and Bill that Karen is the one who posted the ad, as she keeps driving by our house. The backyard picture in the ad was stolen off of my Facebook. I don't know what house the interior pictures belong to, but they do not belong to mine. You can clearly see a backyard in one of the photos, and it doesn't even match my backyard. We made a report with the police. We're going to keep documenting everything until we take Karen to court. Edit. I forgot to mention the fake dating app profile in my haste to post this. I've been contacted by a few men on Facebook claiming to have come across my profile from the dating app. I'm ignoring it for now. I'm sure this is just Karen trying to cause an issue between me and Bill. But Bill knows I would never make a dating app profile.